John Bentley.
What's up, Cowboys fam? It's your boy J Tuck. Sorry for the little mix-up. Rough game, rough game, rough game. But we're definitely going to talk about it. For you guys watching the channel for the first time, your boy J Tuck, CFO family, you guys know the drill. Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe. I have a real special guest, one of my guys. His name is Ryan. He is one of the writers for the Fan to Fan Network, Dallas Cowboys ambassador. Great guy, very, very knowledgeable. We were texting and talking all game, so we had to come on and talk about it. So my guy Ryan, man, how's it going, man?
It was going good, but now it could be a little better after that game. But no, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, rough game. Another Sunday full of emotions, to say the least. The Cowboys got off to another slow start. We fought back strong as a solid Seattle team, but just unfortunately came up short this time. So Ryan, we're going to talk about it, man, because I'm kind of bummed out. What do you think the reason is for all of these slow starts? Like, what is the problem?
Yeah, it kind of comes down to play calling and execution. I feel like when Dak gets comfortable in the pocket and receivers get open, he kind of makes it look easy. He starts to pick guys apart, pick teams apart. I mean, and it's we've had a hard time doing that in the first and second quarter, going back to last season.
Right.
So Kellen Moore is the one constant outside of the personnel on the field. So I think it does have to start there.
Yeah, and like I said, the offense, they started to settle in, giving Dak protection. If you follow me on Twitter at JTuck151, that's one of the things I preach constantly. Give Dak Prescott time. We can do whatever we want against any defense. And I feel like when I say that, I mean that 100%. But as we saw, there's a pressure starting to get to Dak. I love the offensive line adjustment because, Terrence Steele, I'm sure he's a great guy, a great kid. He's just not the answer right now. And we kind of spoke about
Right.
this off grid. But as far as the right tackle position, I knew we moved Zach Martin to the right tackle, who did great because that's what all pros do. That you can play anywhere on the field, but that's
Sure.
not where his strength is. So, what do you think we're going to do with this whole Lyle Collins situation? Do you think he's going to be back next week against the Browns, or should we kind of expect this offensive line we saw at the end of the game to kind of hold still until we can get Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins back to standard?
It's going to be tough to say who's going to come back first and when it's going to be. I kind of got a feeling against the Browns, we're probably going to see both of them out again. Yeah, I was really a fan of Ron Leary making his visit last week. I was hoping that was going to be a signing. We could move Connor Williams over to right tackle, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. It's going to be tough. Miles Garrett is going to be a tough matchup for anybody
Yeah,
on a good day,
he
and
had a
for
good game
Brandon
today.
Knight on that left side, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I worry about. It's just getting healthy back on that O line because it means a lot. I mean, even though Zeke was actually working, he had a few good plays at the end of there. He
Sure.
he didn't have the explosive game that we're accustomed to seeing Zeke play. So a lot of it fell on Dak Prescott's shoulders, and he played
Mhm.
well. I accept the interception thrown before halftime.
Right.
That was a boneheaded play, but I feel like Mike McCarthy and the staff, they're staying aggressive the entire game, and we've seen that on many occasions versus just going into halftime with the score being close. We wanted to strike and maybe go up against the lead against Seattle, Russell Wilson. I felt like defense, as far as from a pressure standpoint, they tried to get their footing. Alden Smith, gold star for you. He played amazing once
Mhm.
again. It's crazy this guy can come after 4 years of being off of NFL football and have the
For
instant
sure.
impact that he is. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm sorry. I need to see more. I need to see more from DeMarcus Lawrence. Granted, he was getting pressure. There's a few times he was within reach of Russell Wilson, but he has to get to the quarterback and actually make the play, especially when it's called. And then the big call at the end of the game, I know can't leave it to the hands of the ref. We should know that by now. But the call on Tristan Hill was costly. I believe if we were going into a 5-point game versus a 7-point game, we were in striking distance to win the game. And also, we got to talk about it. Greg Zerline. Greg Zerline, man, like we cannot go through another season of losing close games due to kicking. Troy
Right.
Aikman mentioned a few times, Dak Prescott within one score games and his record, different things like that. A lot of the times it's due to kicking and special teams. Special teams and kicking does matter. And Tony Pollard, he had a big fumble. And I'm gonna ask you this, Ryan. I'm a Tony Pollard guy. I know a lot of Cowboys fans are Tony Pollard guy. But should we give up on the idea of this dual running back thing with Tony Pollard and Zeke because he's getting zero carries at all?
Well, it seems like the super creative offenses with Kellen Moore, it works when we're playing teams that we can beat easily. Like, and then maybe no teams are easy for us, but I'm thinking last year back to like the Dolphins, and you get off to a hot start, and then you can kind of get cute with the offense and
Right.
have two running backs in the backfield and stuff like that. But when you're in tight games, you focus on your playmakers. One thing I didn't like is that Zeke had a hard time catching the ball today, but
Yeah.
we kept going back to him in the passing game, and it just wasn't really working.
Yeah, we tried a lot of those screen plays. And I felt like, in all fairness to Ezekiel Elliott, he's been carrying a lot of the weight on his shoulders with his
Sure.
offense, staying back and blocking protection for Dak and passing downs and different things like that. So you have to be able to give him a break. I mean, we're leaning on Zeke extremely heavy in these first 3 games. And I felt like we've always thought Tony Pollard could come in, give Zeke the different breaks, especially on third down, put him out and use him as a wide receiver, use him in different motions, but he's pretty much absent besides kickoff returns. And if you guys are wanting to do anything, please take Tony Pollard off of kickoff returns, because my heart
Yeah.
cannot take any more of Tony Pollard. I'm not sure if it's coaching, if he's being instructed to do these things, but it's just not working out right now. I just don't know. But I would like to see more Tony Pollard involvement into his offense, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons we are putting him on kick returns is obviously because we just want to get him involved more.
Right,
But obviously, that's not his specialty.
right.
Um, as far as give Zeke some plays off, and especially on those passing downs and stuff, and give Pollard more opportunities there, because I think he is more of a natural pass catcher at this point.
Right, exactly. And he can make those plays. Tony Pollard's a guy where he can run those underneath drags, run those screen plays. So we kept running those screens to
Right.
Zeke. I'm like, toss one to Tony Pollard and see what he can do with it. But for some reason, Tony Pollard couldn't get many reps on the field. But let's go to the game. Let's break down the game. So the first quarter, we got off to another slow start. As I mentioned, the fumble with Tony Pollard was costly, which led to
Sure.
the safety. So, Ryan, let me ask you this. As far as the play callings go, are you excited with the play calling? Do you like the idea of Dak Prescott throwing the ball 50 times, or do you want the more traditional Cowboy style of football where we're running smash mouth Ezekiel Elliott down your throat?
J Tuck, I'm kind of okay with taking what the defense gives you.
Mm-hmm.
I know every team is, when they play us each week, they're going to game plan for Zeke.
Right.
That's the first thing on their minds is stopping the run. Seattle's a really good team at stopping the run, and they did a great job of it. When Zeke had a hole, he took it, but it just didn't happen often tonight. And yeah, so I do think when they're focused and dead set on stopping the run, we do have to take what they give us, and we did try to do a little of that, run the quick screens and stuff. I just thought we could have executed those a little better.
Yeah, and I think probably the execution in the first half is pretty much due to our offensive line. They were getting the
Right.
pressure up front, getting the push, and Zeke really didn't have many holes to run through. That's why I was saying get involved with Tony Pollard. But like I said, for the most part, from an offensive standpoint, there are a lot of great things to take away. I mean, Cedric Wilson played big. Every time one of our weapons is called to make a big play, it's pretty much there. And so Dak Prescott stepped up. He used his legs when it was time to use his legs on big third downs. Michael Gallup did another big catch. CeeDee Lamb, also Amari Cooper. Dalton Schultz had a drop or two there. One of the
Yeah.
plays in the first half, he could cut a little bit harder to make that play, but that's nitpicking. So I feel like from the offensive standpoint, a lot of Cowboys fans are upset, but I feel like everything is good. My biggest concern, and where our concern should be, is on the defensive side of the ball. And we've heard talks all week about maybe it's being too complicated. I'm not sure what's going on, but all of these touchdowns, especially for Tyler Lockett, are wide open. I could go right now in my flip flops and score
Right.
these touchdowns. So I'm not sure. What do you think is coming down to? Is it just scheme? Is it because lack of preparation? What do you think is causing these issues on defense, Ryan?
Tonight, I thought a lot of it was personnel. I thought we made some adjustments in the second half where the safety was where he needed to be. I think Luckett had most of his really big plays in the first half. But yeah. I mean, it was bad. Guys were getting burned left and right. Most of those touchdowns Seattle had, the guy didn't even get touched.
Right.
So Darian Thompson, I saw get burned a lot tonight. And in my opinion, he's not a starting safety.
He isn't. He isn't a starting safety. He's a good special teams guy. I'm sure he's a
Right.
great guy, but as far as a starting safety in the NFL, especially for the Dallas Cowboys, he is not the solution. So I'm not sure. What do we do? What do we do, Ryan? Do we just sit here and just say, you know what, we're gonna continue to coach these guys up? Me personally, I say give Reggie Robinson the look. I'm just saying he's a guy with a high motor because you can't do any worse right now. And so if we're not going to make a move, if we're not going to go get Eric Reed, or we're not going to go get Earl Thomas, which it seems like, granted, guys, we've spoken highly about the Earl Thomas situation. I think at this point it's just not happening, because how can you sit back for 3 weeks of football, 3 weeks of full football, and seeing what's happened to our secondary and not even think, okay, something needs to be done? You see it, I see it, Cowboys Nation, we all see it. But for some reason, the organization doesn't have a huge concern with it. But something has to change immediately, in my case. So what do you think is the next move when it comes to actually shoring up the secondary?
Well, yeah, if we're going to stick with what we got, I mean, I think Dale Worley's probably been the best look at back there at safety. Obviously today, because we had so many guys out, we had to start him at defensive back. But I would probably give him the most looks at safety. I'd give Brandon Carr some, and I would definitely try and work Reggie Robinson in because sometimes these third, fourth, fifth round picks, it's like we don't want to play them, and so why'd you draft them?
Right.
Give the guys a chance because we know what we have with Darian Thompson at this point, and it's not great.
Right.
It really isn't good. He's getting burned week in, week out. So yeah, I think Daryl Worley, at least I believe it was last week where he dropped that interception in the end zone. At least
Right.
he was in the right spot.
Right.
So again, the secondary's had some chances pretty much every week to make that big interception, make a play. It hadn't really happened.
Yeah. Diggs played solid as a rookie. He had the big play, the punch out against DK Metcalf. Even though he got burnt, he kind of saved himself there. He almost had an interception there at the end of the game as well. And so I feel like Diggs is starting to get his feet up under him because like I said, he's been through a gauntlet of wide receivers. The tough matchups, he's been through it. I mean, after we play against the Browns, and then he'll go through with DeAndre Hopkins, like that's pretty much the best of the best. You did Julio, you had Metcalf, you had Hopkins, you had Odell Beckham Jr. And so after that, I feel like the confidence is only going to project up for Diggs. But the other guys, Jordan Lewis played a lot better than he did play last week, but the secondary just not getting beat over the top. You are a safety. You are a safety. Your main job is not to get beat over the top, and we're constantly getting beat over the top. And one of my big focal points when I did my show this past week is limit the big plays. Limit the big plays because I knew they were coming, and my God, they was coming at a rapid pace, and they were wide open touchdowns. So I don't know, Cowboys Nation, man, how you guys are feeling. Should we make the move for Earl Thomas? I don't believe it's going to happen. We've been pounding the table for this for months. I just don't think it's going to happen. But something has to change. So I'm not sure if it's going back to a more traditional scheme that they were comfortable with for last year. Because we've always said this defense is going to be a slow progression. I really didn't expect to see the full capacity of this defense until around week 6 or week 7-ish because of the shortened training camp, no preseason, different things like that. So I think a lot of these guys are starting to get their feet up under them. But man, the situation that we're at right now, we can't allow wide open touchdowns every game. It's just like who covering? Like even the end zone, I think Diggs was supposed to have been in man, but I think he went zone. But the other side of the field, they were actually in man, and he was just wide open on an easy, simple drag route. So these are the mistakes we have to limit. But I will say this, Cowboys Nation, I'm not pressing the panic button by any means. Ryan, how are you feeling right now as far as the season's concerned?
Well, I mean, it was definitely one of those games where it looked like it could be really bad if we come off this big loss. But then I started looking at the schedule, and Cleveland next week. I think we might have New York after that, the Arizona Cardinals. It gets a little better. I mean, there's some winnable games kind of coming up. And
Right.
if you're watching the rest of the NFC East, which I'm sure you are,
Yeah.
they look scarier than we do. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't feel awful. At the end of the day, your regular season goals are to make the playoffs, win the division is 1, and 2, peak at the right time.
Right.
So get the guys healthy late in the season and play your best football week 12 to week 16.
Yeah, exactly. And like typically, you really don't know the identity of an NFL team until around week 4. I feel like this season's going to be slightly delayed. So like I said, that mid-season push will be critical. And hopefully, knock on wood, we have some guys coming off of injury. We start to, I hope Van Der Esch is able to go. Granted, a lot of people don't like him, but Sean Lee, I still think he adds some depth to our linebacker core. And so just having some players come back, Tyron Smith, Allo Collins, I'm feeling good about the position that the Dallas Cowboys are in because even with the sloppiness and the critical mistakes and the boneheaded plays we were making on both sides of the ball, we are within striking distance of really being 3-0. I mean, if Mike McCarthy takes the field goal against the Rams or they don't call that bogus offensive pass interference, things are looking a lot different. So this was a winnable game. The Rams were a winnable game. So I'm not pressing the panic button yet. I feel like Cowboys fans, the defense will get better. Offense just got to stay healthy. But as you're seeing clearly, our offense is able to do whatever we want on the offensive side of the ball. It's just, tighten a few things up, limiting the penalties and different things like that. So my concern is not with the offense. So I feel like right now, as a Cowboys fan, and maybe it's just me being, overly hopeful, I feel like the Cowboys are still equipped to make a late round push as far as the playoffs is concerned. That really hasn't changed for me. But Ryan, what's your thoughts?
Well, one thing I will give the defense credit for is, and I've been noticing this the past 2 weeks too, we're doing a pretty darn good job at stopping the run.
Right.
Very impressed with Tristan Hill. And I noticed Antoine Woods made some nice plays today as well. So, as long as that interior can continue to do a good job of not letting the other team just control the clock,
Right.
then I think we can definitely stay in games.
Right, exactly, exactly. Like I said, I feel like the interior's gotten a lot better. Poe did a lot better today. Tristan Hill was active. I hope Tristan Hill, and granted he's probably not watching this show, but don't get down on yourself because the penalty. It happens,
Right.
man. It happens. You were trying to make a play. It was a soft call. We all know that, but it happens. This is the NFL. Keep up the high motor, man. Continue to work. You mentioned Antoine Woods had a great game. I like what I saw from Everson Griffin. I feel like he was a lot more comfortable putting his hand back in the 3-point stance.
For
We
sure.
just we just need D Law. We just need D Law to be that person who's just causing havoc. And I feel like with him causing havoc, also Alden Smith, like I said, midseason push, possibly getting Randy Gregory back. We can be in a position to really make things happen. And you also mentioned our division. Now, my thing is with the division, do not take that for granted. All right. I think Cowboys fans don't take it for granted. Don't say, hey, we're still up on Philly. They had a tie today against Cincinnati. We're perfectly fine because we don't want to have to come down to December and have another play-in game and different things like that. Just handle business, be a forefronter, and then go ahead and get into the playoffs, not worry about what everything else is going on in the NFC East. So I'm going to hop in the chat real quick. What's going on in the chat, man? Shouts out to my guy, Carlito. He said, hey, yo. Andrew said everything was bull. Seattle, the game was rigged. The referees was rigged. And my brother says, go get Earl, man. It's not happening, y'all. I just don't see it happening at this point, man. I just don't see us going to get Earl Thomas. And so what we have is what we have. But I feel like, oh Lord, here he comes. My guy, Philly Notion. J Tuck, yeah, all the Eagles are in the chat. J Tuck, yes sir. Catch that L. Only team in the division that didn't lose. So Philly Notion, bro, you have to understand. I watched your channel and I see how you were upset about this game. Taking a tie against Cincinnati. So don't come here gloating like you guys accomplished something. We actually had a formidable opponent. You guys went into a tie with Cincinnati. And you guys have a lot of issues, but go Hawks. Russ MVP. Russ played solid. But here's how crazy the thing is with Russ. Even though Russ's numbers look very video game-ish, I feel like the Cowboys did a good job with Russell Wilson today. It was just, wide open deep throws, but there was a lot of plays where Russ's capabilities, he struck on the one I think was the Olsen where Jalen Smith pushed him out of bounds and he came back in and Russ threw a dot. I mean, that Russell Wilson is top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. You cannot take that away from him. But I think for the most part, we did a good job. We applied pressure. We were able to, get to Russ a little bit and get to him. But there's just those wide open big plays that he was able to take advantage of. So how do you think about Russell Wilson and his gameplay, with the Cowboys? I know a lot of Seahawks fans are now starting to come in from the Norb channel. So
Yeah, I think we contained him. We made him a little uncomfortable at times. I thought the defensive line did their job today. He did get outside of the pocket sometimes, and he did make some plays with his feet, but he's going to do that.
right.
You didn't give up play after play with him running outside of the pocket. As far as my concern was mostly the secondary.
Right. Yeah. And like Philly Notion said, our defense is trash. I'm not ready to place the trash, logo on our defense yet. Because like I said, we do have injuries. We do have Anthony Brown out. We do have Cheeto. We do have Van Der Esch. We do have, Sean Lee out. So those type of players, they're out. If we can get them back and healthy, I feel like this defense can take a leap. A lot of these guys are playing out of position. They're scrambling around. And the Seahawks are a great team. They have weapons. I mean, they have dynamic receivers, and so it happens. And so I'm not ready to place the trash button on the Dallas Cowboys defense. I think there's a lot of cleanup work to do on both sides of the ball, limiting those penalties and different things like that. But I feel like once we get healthy, start to get things back rolling, I feel like this Cowboys team is an extremely, extremely dangerous team. I just feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel that way. We've shown it. I mean, Dak almost struck for 500 yards today. And granted, it's against Seattle and their defense is a little bit limited as well, but it's a formidable opponent. Seattle's going to be there at the end of the season. If we go to the playoffs, we're going to have to go through Seattle. I mean, there's a lot of injuries this season when it comes to the NFL. 49ers are hurt. I mean, Green Bay is staying healthy for the most part. We'll watch them here in a second. But for the most part, I don't see a team who I can watch after 3 weeks of football and say, "Oh man, there's no chance. We can't handle them." I feel confident playing any team with this offense that we have.
Yeah, there's no doubt. As far as a deep playoff run goes, I do still think we're kind of a safety away.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be Earl Thomas. It doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler. If we could just trade a draft pick for a starter, I mean, there's some teams out there that have good depth at safety. If we just had a solid starter in that second safety spot, I think we would be competitive there.
Right, because I tweeted this out during the game. I was like, a lot of Cowboys fans used to bash Jeff Heath, and he's not looking too bad right now. Like, we need to go to Vegas and say, you know what, can we get Heath back, man? Because like I knew Heath was limited with his talent and his physicality and everything, but I didn't know Jeff Heath was going to be at the right place at the right time. And so, I like Jeff Heath, but this was one of those guys we can trust back there. It doesn't have to be an all pro or, a Pro Bowl caliber safety, but just somebody we can trust. I think coming to the season, we thought Clinton Dix was going to be that guy. And apparently it tells you a lot about how his training camp went, because if he's not able to even make the team with this safety core, he must have had a horrible camp. And so I just think someone has to get back there. Mike McCarthy, Mike Nolan, we have to find someone we can trust, whether that's putting Brandon Carr back there or Darryl Worley, whoever, but enough is enough, because all these big plays are and these blown coverages, they have to stop because it's putting our team in very bad positions.
Yeah, no doubt. Who was the guy in training camp that was out there making plays? And I know he didn't make the team because he wasn't really contributing on special teams, but right now, maybe over at Darian Thompson, it makes me wonder. But yeah, the Clinton Dix situation kind of reminded me of last year with, what was it, Josh Adams, another Green Bay guy coming in, and we thought we had our starting safety, and then he doesn't even make the final cut.
Right. And I forgot, what was it? It was Wilson, wasn't it? It was another Wilson, Donovan Wilson.
Donovan Wilson was one of them, but there was one that was like an undrafted free agent who was balling out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the hard part about this camp. We weren't there, so all we were going off was just tweets. Tweets. Everybody looked great in camp and looked great. And like I kept saying on my show, the only name I kept hearing negativity about was Clinton Dix. It was like, didn't have a great day in camp. Didn't have a great day. I'm like, okay, so he must be out there really bad. But we have to find something for that safety position. I don't know. I'm not answers, guys. I don't know who's out there. Like I said, it's pretty much going to have to come in a form of a trade, I believe, at this point in the season. Because there's no guy you can really find just out there. Well, there is, but besides Earl Thomas, that we can really just bring in and shore up that position. Like I said, getting healthy and getting these guys back, I think is going to be critical. But like I said, I'm not jumping out the window. This game was a roller coaster of emotions, but I still felt good about it. I still felt good about the game. We were well up within range of winning this ball game. Shore up those kicks with Greg Zuerlein. I'm not sure what that issue is. If this continues, we have to call up Cobra Cry back and say, hey, man, we made a mistake. Because I know Greg has the leg. And a lot of NFL teams, they like the power. They like the power of the leg, going for the 60 yards and different things like that. I'd rather have a guy who's accurate, just get me on the 40, 45, 50 range, and he's going to shore up that. Because missing extra points, it's costly. We talked about this on Twitter, Ryan, about Madden, like with the Madden kicking meter, man. I've lost so many games of just shanking extra points. It's critical. And we cannot go into these games against these great teams shaking extra points left and right. It just can't happen. So, what's up? DK Metcalf had some fun with Diggs tonight. I mean, DK Metcalf, he's like a Super Saiyan, man. I'm not going to take anything away from DK Metcalf, man. It's like, I call him like Des Bryant on Vibranium, man. It's like he's just injected with all the right stuff, man. He's a great receiver, and so is Tyler Lockett, so you can't take that away from him. And like I said, Russell Wilson, he has the arm strength to make these plays. Philly Notion, keep up the great work, my guy, 100. Big salute, but yes, sir, sleep on that L. I'll sleep on the L. I'll take the L. I'm handling the loss today a lot better because we won last week. If we would have lost last week, and then things wouldn't probably be good. Pollard did the thing you mentioned on Norb's channel. Why does he continue to take the ball out? We don't know. I just don't know what this thing is. I'm sure if he's getting coached to do that. I'm sure he's getting, but we saw, and I said this on Norb's channel, it could cost us because you can get a holding penalty, you can get a fumble, and then what happened? He dropped it. He didn't want to get it because he doesn't get a safety. He kind of set on it at the 1 yard line. I personally felt like Zeke was almost out. I would have went with the quarterback sneak with Dak just to give yourself a little bit leeway and more room. We didn't. So that safety, that's a 9-point play. We just gave up 9 points right there by doing that. So just take a knee. 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 Let's get the ball to 25 and go from there. Because like I said, limiting these mistakes is putting our offense in bad positions. In our offense, once we get Dak settled, we can do whatever we want. So special teams definitely matters. SoFlo, what's up to my guy? SoFlo, Jonathan, and Nisha. Secondary and blown coverage is sickening. Cannot give up touchdowns on that 3rd and 3 to Thompson. Get Thompson out of there. Yeah, we talked about that, man. But for who is the magic question? And I feel like someone in the Dallas Cowboys media needs to really ask Mike McCarthy, whoever, during these interviews, what are you going to do about this? Like, why aren't you as upset as Cowboys fans? Or how can you look back and see wide open blown coverages week after week and just be okay with that? So yeah. So guys, like I said, go ahead and follow my guy Ryan. He has his channel, YouTube channel. Go ahead, plug yourself, Ryan. Go ahead. You're...
Sure. So it's Fratagonia on YouTube. That's Fratagonia on YouTube and Instagram, and it's Real Fratagonia on Twitter.
Real Fratagonia. And like I said, guys, Ryan is one of the writers for the Fan to Fan Network. So we're going to be doing a lot of partnerships, a lot of videos, a lot of content together moving forward, man. So we were like, let's do a post game. And as you guys see, I'm still smiling. I'm okay. You know, like I was getting frustrated. I think my biggest frustrating point in today's game was the Dak interception at the end before the half, because it was so uncharacteristic. But Griffin did make a great jump on the ball. But I'm just like, you know what? Even in that moment, even if it's tight coverage, just don't do it. Because you're not going to afford that risk. Like I said, that was a huge game-changing play as far as the score is concerned. But like I said, I am proud at most. Let's talk about the positives, right? Let's keep it positive. I'm positive that the Dallas Cowboys, this new era under Mike McCarthy, they are showing a lot of fight. And I like that. And like I've always said this, at the end of the day, if we go 8-8, we go, 7-9, whatever, as long as I can say my team went out there and gave 100% and we competed and we fought until the end of the game, I'm okay with taking that loss. So I feel like with today, I'm okay with taking that loss. Even the very last play of Dak interception, it was a fight because he could have went down, could have did a fumble, and then or took the sack and been done. He fought hard. Everyone, even though Zeke didn't have the game that he's accustomed to, he didn't pout, he didn't mope. He still stayed in protection. He still tried to make big plays when his number was called. Even defense, they struggled, had blown coverages. They tightened up in the secondary, and they did. And, things happen. It's the game of football. But I'll tell you this: if this was last year, we're getting blown out. We're getting blown out the gate. Nothing happens good. There's no fight. The team's looking lethargic. They're moping around. But I feel like under this Mike McCarthy era, this team has a different confidence, a different vibe about them. And I feel like once we start to settle down, that's when things are really going to get great for this Dallas Cowboys team. How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, so there were times where we would get a 3 and out or something, and we're down by a touchdown or we're down by 2 touchdowns. And I'm thinking to myself, this is probably the point in the game where the Seahawks just kind of run away with it. And to the defense's credit, they did fight and they got stops when they had to. They didn't let Russell Wilson just run away with the game. So, yeah, I think there were definitely some good things to build off of. And I agree. I was not as frustrated and as upset as I was week 1 and definitely parts of week 2.
Right. Exactly. And like I said, man, it's just settling down, limiting these mistakes, these costly mistakes. It's the little things that are taking us from really being 3-0. Like even with the Rams game, we had a lot of costly mistakes, but we still should have won that game. Even with the Falcons game, 4 fumbles and different. Like we are still competing. We're still out there fighting. So once we can clean things up, and teams really have to take us head on, that's when things are going to get scary. So for all the Philly guys in the chat, I believe by the time we play you guys, we'll have everything clean and ready to go, and we'll be able to handle things moving accordingly. So my guy SoFlo Cowboy said, where is D-Law? So let me ask you that question, Ryan. What do you think it is with Marcus Lawrence the past 2 years? I kind of gave him a pass last year, okay, whatnot, but I feel like it's just not working out right now. Did we make a mistake by paying?
Hey, I mean, it certainly seems that way right now, right? I didn't. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the tape from today. But did he have his hand in the ground too, or was he standing up
He
today?
did a little bit of both. He did a little bit of mixture.
Okay.
So there was sometimes he put his hand in the dirt, and then sometimes he was standing up. I saw him drop off in coverage a few times, and different things like that. So they're trying to move him. But like I said, when he has his hand in the dirt, he was getting there. He's getting that push and different things like that. It's just him standing up. He's hesitant. He's still hesitant, and I get it. It's not easy. Going from a stand up end to putting your hands in the dirt. I mean, DeMarcus Ware, one of my favorite all time Cowboys, he struggled with it.
Right.
Like it's just a different get off. And I feel like DeMarcus Lawrence really just needs to have his hand in the dirt and let those guys, Alden Smith, come off the edge. Jalen Smith, I feel like for the most part, play a little bit better. I mean, there were some plays he was kind of behind and late and different things like that, but Jalen Smith played a little better off first catch. Now the film, the all 22, that'll tell me a different story probably when I go back and watch it. But yeah, I don't know what the thing is with DeMarcus Lawrence, man. I don't want to say he wasn't worth the money because he still gets a lot of attention. But when you pay someone that type of money, you expect full chaos. Like if you had no idea about the Cowboys and you never watched them, and this was your first game peeking in, you would look at Alden Smith and be like, that's the guy who getting all the money. Like that's their number one defensive player. Like you really have to watch film to really be able to explain what DeMarcus Lawrence is doing on a weekly basis because nothing jumps off the screen anymore.
Yeah, and it is going to be interesting when we do go back and watch the film. Is he being double teamed? Is he doing a great job at stopping the run because the team overall did a pretty decent job at that? Or is he just not playing a factor at all? Obviously, in the pass rush, he's struggled. You don't see a lot of player for player trades in the NFL, but would you be interested in a DeMarcus Lawrence for safety trade by any chance?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. If we could get a safety out there that could actually do some work, I would definitely put DeMarcus Lawrence on the trade. Like even if they wanted DeMarcus Lawrence in like a third or a fourth, depending on who the safety is, but
Right.
that's high wishing, man. We could have had a safety. We could have had a safety that was out there playing today. But like I'm saying, guys, there's a guy literally at home doing God's know what. I had no what Earl Thomas is doing, But just bring him in. There's no risk. If he comes in and he acts a fool, we can cut him and just move on. Like I just don't understand what it is. You have to be able to take a look at a guy like that. But you mentioned a guy on Twitter too. Do we ever find out what happened with the Ron Leary thing? Why did that fall through the cracks?
It's interesting because he is a left guard, and I'm wondering if at this point of the season we don't want to try to move Connor Williams to tackle. Honestly, at this point I'm questioning if Connor Williams is even a starter.
Right.
So yeah, it does kind of bother me. But every other team has passed on Ronald Leary to this point as well.
Right.
So he could just be kind of slowing down.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we see it. Why doesn't you're in the locker room? You're around these guys all the time. Why does not the Cowboys not see that Connor Williams is not a left guard? I mean, even if you watch the tape of him coming out of Texas, like he played a lot of tackle. He's more of a swing tackle. And so it really showed a lot about them even moving Zach Martin to right tackle versus Connor Williams. I would have did the opposite. I would have probably shifted, Connor Williams to right tackle and shifted Joe Looney to left guard and then brought in Tyler Biadasz at the center position. But maybe they don't see him as a tackle. Maybe I have no idea what's going on, but Connor Williams is not the solution. And I was banging on the table all off season for Connor McGovern. I guess the Cowboys don't give a damn about my thoughts, and so he's not getting any reps. And so I like I said, I give up. Cowboys Nation, I give up on the whole Connor McGovern idea, and I give up on the whole Tony Pollard, him and Zeke in the backfield idea. We saw 2 plays of it against Atlanta, and it just got thrown out the water. So I'm about to cut Tony Pollard from my fantasy team because he's doing me no good. So yeah, so I mean, like I said, but here's the thing, guys. Stay positive. There's still a lot of upside when it comes to this Cowboys team. We're just getting started. Like I said, probably around week 6, once we start hitting division a lot harder, you'll see our true identity. But for Dak Prescott, let's talk about Dak for a moment. My guy Dak Prescott. What is your takeaway for Dak Prescott and how he's playing, and what does this actually mean for the offseason when it comes to contract negotiation? Because I feel like right now, if I'm Todd France, the price is going up even higher. So, Jerry, I'm pissed off for you even making me wait. The price is going up higher. I mean, the guy almost threw for 500 yards. He played great. Every time there was a play that needed to be made. Uh-oh. Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking. I think I got my guy Norb in, so I'm going to plug him in here in a second. Here. All right. Go ahead, Ryan, and I'll try to get
Yeah,
NorbCam.
sure. So yeah, I mean, Dak played a good game for the most part. I mean, like you said, he had the one big mistake, which was very unlike him, was the interception before halftime. And other than that, I mean, he was pretty much on the money. When he has time in the pocket, he makes plays. There was a couple things where I just thought he was a tad bit off. He threw off his back foot one time, overthrew. I think it was Blake Bell or Dalton Schultz, but yeah, I'd say his price tag's probably going up just from the way week two ended and the way he played today. At the end of the day, I think we're kind of stuck in a hole. We kind of have to pay him, and his value is probably only going to go up from here.
Gotcha. So, guys, what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna bring in NorbCam from the Seahawks. I know he was probably out celebrating, so I'm gonna plug him back in. We'll be back here in a few moments, and we'll get back to talking the Seahawks Cowboys football game.
Child Bentley. Child Bentley.
What's up, Cowboys fan? We are back here, and we got my guy NorbCam back in the building, man. Norb, the floor is yours, man. The Seahawks were able to pull off a victory. So how are you feeling right now?
After a game like that, I feel like I need a cold shower and a massage, man, because that was so stressful and intense that entire way. But of course, I'm relieved because anytime you can get through a game like that and come away with a win, well, I'm going to take it anytime I can and twice on Sunday. So I'm relieved. I'm happy. And man, the game pretty much went exactly as I think we talked about it.
Right.
And my score I missed it by 1 point, my score prediction. So everything was pretty much kind of like what I thought it was going to be, but in a lot of ways kind of worse because I didn't think it'd be that close. I said it'd be close, but I didn't think it'd be that close. Yeah, so I'm just relieved, man. I'm thankful. But
my whole idea of it being a low-scoring game got blown out in the waters early, and so. But yeah, so because me and Ryan already spoke about this. So as a Seahawks fan, what was your waves of emotion going to the game? Do you feel like when you guys got up by 15, like, oh, we got this in the bag easily? You know, DK Metcalf kind of had the boneheaded play where Diggs was able to knock it out before he scored. So were you feeling confident for the majority of the game? When did you start to settle in thinking, okay, we're in serious trouble right now?
It was a weird game through the whole thing because it felt at times like, gosh, we're just not on it. Russ is off. The rhythm is really all over the place. And then there was times like, all right, this is great. All right, this is more like it. Right. And then it was like, oh, back to whatever the heck we were just doing. And then, start the second half. I changed my hat. Actually, I changed my hat to my game green hair. And all of a sudden we got this sack fumble. We're almost going in the end zone. So I was like, hey, it's all back on track again. And then next day, just back to you guys scoring and getting to within, 2 points and all that. And then leading up to that final thing. So it was just a weird game because it was never quite even. It just felt like there were major momentum surges where it went your guys' way, then went our way, back to you, back the other way. But I don't think we could have scripted a more dramatic finish where I was predicting and saying we've got to be the one. DK's got to score the winning touchdown because he's got to make up for that stupid boneheaded early celebration thing. I said the only way he makes up for it, he's got to score the winning touchdown and give me my score so that I'm within like 1 point of my prediction. Exactly. And then he goes and does it. But then I'm going, shoot, it happened too soon.
Right.
We still got a minute 45 and 3 timeouts left. You guys, the way you were moving the ball, looks like you were going to go down and score at will. And I thought, oh, man, this is way too quick, way too much time. You're going to get down the field, and with our banged up secondary, with no Jamal Adams,
right?
I was not feeling confident at all.
Yeah,
and so it was down to that last play that I finally could relax and scream and shout, "Hallelujah!"
Right. This game, yeah, on the interception. And I know this morning, Norbs, when me and Ryan tag team to get you on the fan network this morning, during the virtual tailgate, you said something that you guys actually did. You guys stopped Zeke from eating. You put him on a diet, and I feel like that changed a lot with this game. But I didn't expect, from a Cowboys point of view, for it to be a shootout, like Dak throwing the ball 50 times against you guys. But I felt like the way the game was going, that was what was asked from not only Dak Prescott, but also for Russell Wilson from you guys' standpoint as well. So, as far as what you've seen as a Seahawks fan, Norb, when it comes to thinking about the season, are you concerned, just like Cowboys fans are concerned with your defense?
Well, yeah, man. Like I said, this game went exactly as I predicted to. And I said so earlier. And I also said in my keys, my 3 keys, as I said in our collaboration, I said, 1, we got to stop Zeke. We got to put him on a diet, which we did.
Yeah.
Number 2, Russ has got to keep on cooking. He did. He got 5 touchdowns again. Number 3, we've got to win the turnover battle, which we did.
Right.
And that was it. That was the key, because I knew we were not going to stop you guys in the air. I knew it was going to be a high-scoring game. I knew that it was going to be a shootout, not quite down to the wire that I thought it was going to be, and I knew it would be close. So all those things happened, and yet we were this far from losing once again, just like against the Patriots. So Am I concerned? Well, especially after losing all those players to injuries again, another bloody weekend in football. We lost 2 offensive linemen, Jamal Adams, our running back. We had lost Quentin Dunbar before the game even started. So we were already, I mean, that's a whole bunch of really key guys that went down. So of course I'm celebrating the win, but I'm thinking this is game 3 of a 16-game season. And we've already lost all these key guys. The way I'm looking at it now is like Russell Wilson's going to have to throw 5 touchdown passes every game in order to win a game. I mean, and can he do that? I don't know. He should have had 6. He should have freaking had 6 touchdowns today. And I don't know if he's never done that in his career. And I'm pissed that DK denied him that. Plus, I'm pissed that DK was my fantasy guy and he blew a touchdown right there. So that really, I couldn't get over that. I was just full. I was furious about that. I couldn't get over it for a long time. Even after the half, I was still complaining about that play. And of course, if he gets that touchdown, it's not quite the close game that it would have not have been if we had another touchdown cushion. So anyway, my concern, I think that's a long answer to your question, but it was what I thought we were, because we are who I think we are, which is we have a crappy secondary, especially now that's super banged up. Our secondary can't stop anybody. We finally got some pressure on the quarterback, which was pleasantly surprising because we hadn't done it all game. And then, Russell is going to have to, as always he does, carry the entire team on his back. And if he doesn't throw 5 touchdowns, we're not going to win games. So it's a horrible formula because someday he's going to have a bad game. I'm going to go against a team that can really sling it even more. So, yeah, am I worried? Yeah, I don't know if in the history of mankind, because quarterback throw 5 games for an entire 16-game, 5 touchdowns for a 16-game season. No, that's not going to happen. So at some point that's going to dry up and we're going to play a really tough secondary, a really good offensive or defensive front, and that's come to a stop. But for now, I'm just glad we did. We have to lick our wounds. I don't know how bad all these injuries are. But I have to give you kudos then, because Dak Prescott, I thought, well, maybe last week was a fluke. Maybe it was just Atlanta letting him, get back into the game with those throws and all the yards that he threw for, but he surpassed the performance from last week. And so you guys have a potent offense, that receiving core and Dak Prescott, he's going to be throwing for a lot of yards throughout the season. So to me, that told me you guys got your quarterback. So if I'm
that's
Jerry
coming
Jones,
from a
you got to
Seahawks
find
fan.
a way to keep it.
And that's not coming from me,
good.
right?
I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Well, exactly. And that's what, I preached it on my channel, and I'm sure Ryan's done it on his as well. Dak Prescott is not only a great leader, but he's a great quarterback. I don't know what people want from him. Even during today's game, people were tweeting and texting me, Dak Prescott can't win these type of games. I'm like, we're playing a great quarterback in Russell Wilson. And honestly, when you look at Seattle and you look at Dallas, it's kind of like a mirror match. And we spoke about this, Norb. Like, we have great offenses. We have great leaders in our quarterbacks. Our defense is just limited. But I mentioned you guys have a few more playmakers than we have. And turnovers, that was a key difference. So, Ryan, I know we spoke about this earlier before we brought on Norb. But, we kind of spoke about DeMarcus Lawrence. So, for the new visitors coming in because they're asking questions about D-Law, go ahead and give your take on DeMarcus Lawrence. Are you concerned? What should we do moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely concerned because we have a plethora of pass rushers, and D-Law is not really getting it done out there. He's not pressuring the quarterback now. Like I said, I am going to have to take a look back at the film and see if he was being double teamed, see how he was at stopping the run, because that's one of the things where I think we kind of outperformed my expectations. But then we gave up a few more big plays than I was expecting. And that's kind of where I underrated Russell Wilson in that offense.
Yeah, exactly. And we spoke about this earlier, Norb. Even though the stats look great for Russell Wilson from this standpoint, I feel like we did a great job of containing Russell Wilson, if I can even say that. I mean, we did give up the big plays, and we spoke about that, which, I don't know what's going on. We have some key secondary issues that we must address. But I feel like for the most part, we did have a great handle on Russell Wilson for most of the game. We were able to get pressure. He really didn't have any of those big runs that he's used to for breaking out. But as you see those difference makers, like I said, that strike that he did, I think was Greg Olsen in the end zone, was just a dot, man. And he put it right on the string for him. And so those are the things you have to be aware of when you're playing against Mr. Unlimited. But, with you guys' standpoint, you guys have a great quarterback. And like I said, it's just really for you guys and for us as well is to get healthy. So What's next for you guys? Are you feeling confident about next week's game? Who do you guys play next week, Nort?
We play Miami.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
In Miami.
So you get a bye week. And so that's what the Cowboys need, man. We need a bye week. I want a bye week, man. I need to play the Giants or the Washington football team like soon, man, because I feel like from a health wise, like we just need to get healthy again, but we're playing these great teams straight out the gate. So
I don't know about the bye week thing. I mean, I chose Jacksonville as my defense on fantasy against Miami on Thursday night, thinking, oh, Miami's just gonna roll over. And man, those guys put up points. Fitzmagic looked good. So all of a sudden I'm like, maybe this game's going to be a little tougher than I thought. And again, right now, I feel like our secondary can't stop anyone. We have not stopped anyone in the first 3 games. So who am I to say we're going to shut someone down when we haven't proven that we can do so? I was going to say, back to your comment, that what impressed me, or I guess what was different than what I expected, was our offensive line actually protected well. And your defensive secondary was a lot better than I thought it would be, because there was a lot of times when Russell was back there with a lot of time, and he's looking, he's ducking, he's looking. I'm like, throw the ball, and he's not throwing it. And then he'd either have to just throw it away, or he did get sacked a few times, or it would just be nothing. And I'm thinking, really, they're that covered down the field? I thought they had 2 starting corners out of the game, and they're covered like that. Yeah. So that impressed me, and I was impressed by our offensive line, the fact that they were actually still able to give him time. It's just that time still didn't result in, the quick, plays. Fortunately for us, you guys, I didn't see the final numbers, but you guys had a lot of penalties, especially in the secondary that kept drives alive. Thank God for us, because there were times I thought it was over, and then all of a sudden holding, illegal contact, and that kept things moving and allowed us to keep going down the field, which turned out to be the difference, one possession. So, you guys actually did better on defense, especially in the secondary, than I expected. Yeah, you guys did give up the big plays, which eventually, obviously, 5 touchdowns. That's a lot of big plays. Right. But it still was, in a lot of ways, better than I had expected. So, it was a good fight.
It was a great game. I think that's what a lot of people wanted. I know we spoke about that numerous times. We also spoke about this morning. It was going to be an exciting game, America's Game of the Week. I personally got blacked out here in Kansas City, so I had to scramble to find a way to watch the game. I was getting all ready, and then it was like, we now take you to Denver. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So but I was able to watch the game. I was a little delayed behind, but it was a great game. Like I said, as a Cowboys fan, Cowboys Nation, I'm not hitting the panic button. Seattle's a great team. We fought to the end. Even at the end of the game, we were still well in distance. We could have strike. I thought if Dak was able to get that pass off clearly, I think Michael Gallup or CeeDee Lamb could have made a play on the ball, but he's just rushing. There wasn't enough time left. Everyone was like, well, why didn't Dak just throw the ball out of bounds? There was 6 seconds left, and then it would have been just a Hail Mary to the end zone, and it probably would have worked in our favor. So he was trying to make the play. It definitely happened. So, like I said, great game, great win, my guy. All the Seahawks fans in the chat, I see you. Great win. I know when we talked to you this morning, you're out there walking on the beach, man. So taking a stroll on the beach. And so, but yeah, our secondary did play a lot better, but when we needed them to make the big play, they just wasn't able to do it. And like you said, a lot of those illegal contacts down the field and different things like that was costly, because you have to get a quarterback of Russell Wilson's caliber off the field when you have that opportunity. And a lot of those plays continued the drives, and we paid the price.
Yeah, no, it was a good game. It was, like I said, a weird feeling game where it just had such strange ebb and flows, like a car that won't start right. It's like and it started back up again, and it looked like both teams at some point just were not going to get into rhythm, and all of a sudden they'd explode into rhythm, and then get a touchdown, and then let someone hit it out of their hands and turn it into a touchback. I mean, things like that. It was that drastic of swings back and forth. Right. And, again, it took a 5 touchdown effort to not lose to you guys, despite the fact that we dominated the turnover battle. Wasn't it like 3-0 or something like that? 3 or 4 turnovers?
Yeah, you guys didn't turn the ball over. We had a few close calls that, could have got turnovers, but we didn't.
And this is the difference. Again, the difference between Atlanta and Seattle. We had a 15-point lead, and we did give it up. Right. But Seattle finds ways to win. Again, Russell Wilson. Atlanta finds ways to lose. And
it did because
you guys did fight back in the same way, the same point margin to get back into the game. But Seattle so far has been able to find ways when the back's against the wall. Somebody steps up and guys who were not even, I didn't even know the guy's name. The guy made the interception. I was like, who's 35? Who the hell's that guy?
Right.
They signed him out the practice squad.
Yeah,
because
he's
we
a
had so
practice
many guys
squad guy.
banged
I
up.
thought. Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool for that guy. And, it's, I'm just glad, man. We're very fortunate to have a win both these last 2 weeks. So here we are sitting on top of the NFC West 3-0, looking down on the competition, but it's not going to get any easier. We haven't even played the NFC West yet. It's
Exactly.
Be a brutal gauntlet.
And the Cardinals
twice.
Cardinals are looking like a formidable port. It's just I feel like the team who can stay the healthiest will be one of the teams to survive, man, because like a lot of injuries today again across the NFL. So it just amounts. I mean, for you guys, it was just like, okay, one of your guards went down, and then Jamal Adams went down. Two guards went down, and Jamal Adams went down, and just like, here you go. It starts to amount. So having that depth is going to be critical. So Ryan, what are some of your key takeaways for Cowboys fans to kind of keep them hopeful, keep them positive, and after today's loss?
Well, I mean, I guess I could say that we're so hot and cold that we're probably due for a good start in Cleveland next week. I would think. I'd like to think, anyways. That's kind of my biggest thing is that the offense is hot and cold. It's never really lukewarm. Sometimes we make it look easy, and then if it's either that or we just can't move the ball at all. So I think moving forward with the schedule just getting a little easier, that we'll start to gain a little momentum. Eventually, we're going to start getting guys back from injury, and that's a big deal. I thought both teams had to deal with a lot of injuries today, and I thought Pete Carroll in Seattle kind of did a better job at taking advantage of us missing players.
Exactly. So Cowboys fans, I see you guys in the chat. A lot of you guys are bummed out. Stay positive. Keep things on the up and up. We still have a lot of football left, guys. It's only week 3, but it feels like it's like week 8 or week 9, man. It was my heart. I was looking at my Apple Watch, and like my heart was just pounding this entire game. And I was like, why are you so nervous? It's like a playoff game, but I felt like it's just, we're fully capable of winning this game, but just those stupid mistakes. And I talked about this on your show, Norb. It's just, the Tony Pollard kick returns. We saw that turn into 2 points for you guys. It's those little things are costly, missing the extra points. And so a lot of cleanup work for Dallas Cowboys to do to get back on track, but hopefully we get back on track against the Cleveland Browns. So Norb, I know I just plugged you in, but I'm not going to keep you guys all night because I want you to go celebrate and watch these games. So tell the people watching my channel where they can find you at and all of your information as well, Norb.
Absolutely. Mine's easy. You can find me on social media and on YouTube. Just look up NorbCam, NorbCam. And yeah, I do game reactions, collabs, vlogs like this, but I also throw in a music video here and there and some entertainment comedy sketches to try to.
Are we getting a Beat the Cowboys music video, or are we safe?
I should have done one earlier. Maybe it would have helped.
You should have like got the beach, man, with the water and the waves splashing on you.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I did release, though, you may not have seen it, but I did release an old Rivals video from a few years ago where I went up against a zombie cowboy nation and had to try to survive using a slingshot and Skittles.
Oh, man.
So check that out on my channel.
All right, I'll check
that out on Friday. So yeah, you'll find ridiculous stuff like that on my channel, but it's all good fun. But I appreciate you having me on here, man. I got to ask you a quick question.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So you can see on my reaction, if you guys want to watch, how stressed out I was, especially in that last drive to score. But even after we scored, I still wasn't confident. I was still like, great, now they get all this time back. How were you feeling getting that ball back with 1:45 or something, 3 timeouts? How was your confidence / oh crap, we're gonna lose versus I know we're gonna win meter? Where were you at? I always wonder, because I always feel like I'm thinking the worst, and I always wonder what fans like you are thinking of your team.
Ryan, I'll let you go take that one first, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, so part of me definitely trusts Dak, and the other part of me knows that that's just something that the team in general has struggled with in recent times, is coming back in those final 2 minutes when we're down. And we did a great job, obviously, last week. But I felt somewhat comfortable because we did have time. But I wanted to bet on us in that situation.
Yeah, me personally, when DK Metcalf scored, I wasn't down about that. Granted, I wanted to hold you guys to 3. It was really the 2-point conversion, because I felt like if we would have had it within 5, then we had 3 timeouts, and I trust Dak Prescott. that we were going to make a push down the field. We were going to be within striking distance to win this ball game. So I was feeling confident once we got the ball back. And like I said, it was one of those penalties that kind of pushed us back. I was like, okay, we started using those timeouts. I was like, all right, they're going to be able to sit in and kind of protect the end zone. So it's going to really take a great play for it to happen. But I was still feeling confident. And that shows the confidence that I have in Dak Prescott, because I'm not going to let the chat set me on flames. But the previous guy, and he's back there somewhere, the previous quarterback that we had, you were already expecting the worst to happen. It was like, all right, man, we lost. He's going to throw an interception. But with Dak Prescott, I feel like as the quarterback of the Cowboys in the 4 years that he's been there, is that we're going to be in the game. And if these late games, if we get the ball back, we can strike in distance, especially with the weapons that we have. And so he was able to march down the field. But, that's how I was feeling the entire game, man. So it wasn't really, like unlike Atlanta, I had moments where, like, okay, we lost. We're done. Like, there's no way we're coming back like that. But even as bad as things look, I look at the clock and I say, you know what? There's plenty of time left. We're only down by 15 points. Oh, 15? That's easy. That's easy. That's a new mindset that I have as a Dallas Cowboys fan that I typically didn't have last year. We got this game last year. I'd have probably turned it off and started playing Madden a long time ago, probably in the second half. But I feel like, 15, 20 range, we have the weapons we can strike quickly. So you just got to give us time to do it. But like I said, it was a tough loss, but it was a hard-fought battle. As a Cowboys fan, I just said this with Ryan earlier, we're showing fight, and that's all I ask for as a Cowboys fan, just to show fight, don't lay down, and we're showing fight. You guys did the exact same thing, and, it happens. You lose football games, but even if you guys, I think last week helped Seattle because you guys were in a tough game against New England. And that play against Noah Brown for the 2-point conversion was critical because within inches of scoring that, it changes the dynamics of this ball game. So those little plays like that, they start to amount during the game, and you guys made them and we didn't. So
a quick note before it goes, I just saw a stat flash across the screen that with that 5 touchdown performance today, he broke the Patrick Mahomes 3-game starting record of, he had 13 touchdowns in 2018 for the first 3 games. Russell Wilson he broke that record with now 14 touchdowns in the first 3 games.
Mr. Unlimited. Like I said, I'm a huge Russell fan. I would prefer he get the MVP over the other guy who's getting ready. Well, he's probably playing right now. So, you'll see you guys. And I feel like we will see you guys again. So Norb will definitely collab again. It's time for playoffs, playoffs. But Ryan, go ahead and give everyone your information where they can find you before we check out.
Yeah, so it's Fradigonia on YouTube, Fradigonia on Instagram, and Real Fradigonia on Twitter. And we're still the same old cardiac Cowboys, baby.
Yeah, cardiac Cowboys in the house, man. And for everyone watching me, man, I appreciate you guys sticking in with us for the post-game show. So Cowboys fans only, comment, like, subscribe somewhere down there. Also follow me on Twitter at JTuck151. And me, Ryan, and Norb, we're all part of the Fan to Fan Network. So guys, make sure you go check out the FanToFanNetwork.com. We did the tailgate this morning. I was feeling a lot more confident then than I am right now, but definitely a lot of NFL content about our teams, and we'll definitely be collaborating, doing more things with Ryan and also Norb when we meet him again for the playoffs. I'm already calling it, speaking into existence for the playoffs. So you're coming to Dallas, and you're gonna have fans. You're gonna be 30,000 there as we go through you guys to the wild card round. So I'm already speaking into existence, guys. But I appreciate you coming on. Norb, celebrate your victory, man. Ryan, we got to get back to work, so we'll link up again and get ready to play the Browns. But everyone tuning in, I appreciate you guys for joining. You guys stay safe, stay blessed, and stay encouraged. And how about those Cowboys?
Go Hawks. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, guys.